Do you think that colors affect your attitude? Do you think that it is possible that different colors can actually elevate or bring your emotions down? What if you could see those colors? Hello, I am Daisy, your hostess, and if you're new to my channel, welcome, and to our subscribers, welcome back. In this video, we continue with the book titled The Human Aura, Astral Colors and Thought Forms by Swami Panchadasi. And in this video, we're going to learn the different colors and their meanings. And Swami Panchadasi actually says, with practice, you too can actually see the prana aura. So without any further introduction, let's get started. Chapter 3. The Astral Colors. The term astral, so frequently employed by occultists, is difficult to explain or define except to those who have pursued a regular course of study in occult science. For the purpose of the present consideration, it is enough to say that over and above the ordinary physical sense plane, there is another and more subtle plane known as the astral plane. Every human being possesses the innate and inherent faculty of sensing the things of this astral plane by means of an extension or enlargement of the powers of the ordinary senses, so to speak. But in the majority of persons in the present stage of development, these astral senses are lying dormant, and only here and there do we find individuals who are able to sense on the astral plane, although in the course of evolution, the entire race will be able to do so, of course. The colors of the human aura, mentioned in the preceding 2 chapters, and which arise from the various mental and emotional states, belong to the phenomena of the astral plane, and hence bear the name of the astral colors. Belonging to the astral plane and not to the ordinary physical plane, they are perceived only by the senses functioning on this astral plane, and are invisible to the ordinary physical plane sight. But to those who have developed the astral sight or clairvoyance, these colors are as real as are the ordinary colors to the average person, and their phenomena have been as carefully recorded by occult science as have the physical plane colors by physical science. The fact that to the ordinary physical senses they are invisible does not render them any the less real. Remember, in this connection, that to the blind men, our physical colors do not exist. And for that matter, the ordinary colors do not exist to the colorblind persons. The ordinary physical plane person is simply colorblind to the astral colors. That's all. On the astral plane, each shade of mental or emotional state has its corresponding astral color, the latter manifesting when the form appears. It follows then, of course, that when once the occultist has the key to this color correspondence and thus is able to perceive the astral colors by means of his astral vision, he also is able to read the mental and emotional states of any person within the range of his vision, as easily as you are now reading the printed words of this book. Before proceeding to a consideration of the list of astral colors in the human aura, I wish to call your attention to a slight variation in the case of the prana aura, of which I have spoken in our last chapter. I have stated therein that the prana aura is colorless, like a diamond or clear water. This is true in the average case. But in the case of a person of very strong physical vitality or virility, the prana aura takes on, at times, a faint, warm pink tinge, which is really a reflection from the red astral color, of the meaning of which color you shall now learn. Like their physical plane counterparts, All the astral colors are formed from 3 primary colors, namely 1, red, 2, blue, and 3, yellow. From these 3 primary colors, all other colors are formed. Following the primary colors, we find what are known as the secondary colors, namely 1, green, derived from a combination of yellow and blue. 2, orange, formed from a combination of yellow and red. And 3, purple, formed from a combination of red and blue. Further combinations produce the other colors, as for instance, green and purple form olive, orange and purple form russet, green and orange form citrine. Black is called an absence of color, while white is really a harmonious blending of all colors, strange as this may appear to one who has not studied the subject. The blending of the primary colors in varied proportions produce what is known as the hues of color. Adding white to the hues, we obtain tints, while mixing black produces shades. Strictly speaking, black and white are known as neutral colors. Now for the meaning of the astral colors, that is, the explanation of the mental or emotional state represented by each, I ask that the student familiarize with the meaning of the primary colors and their combinations. A clear understanding of the key of the astral colors is often an aid in the development of astral sight. Key to the astral colors. Red. Red represents the physical face of mentality. That is to say, it stands for that part of the mental activities which are concerned with physical life. It is manifested by the vitality of the body, and other hues, tints, and shades is manifested by passions, anger, physical cravings, etc. I shall describe the various forms of red manifestation a little later on. Blue. Blue represents the religious or spiritual phase of mentality. That is to say, it stands for that part of the mental activities which are concerned with high ideals, altruism, devotion, reverence, veneration, etc. It is manifested in its various hues, tints, and shades by all forms of religious feeling and emotion, high and low, as we shall see as we proceed. Yellow. Yellow represents the intellectual phase of mentality. That is to say, it stands for that part of the mental activities which are concerned with reasoning, analysis, judgment, logical processes, induction, deduction, synthesis, etc. In its various hues, hints, and shades, it is manifested by the various forms of intellectual activity, high and low, as we shall see as we proceed. White. White stands for what occultists know as pure spirit, which is a very different thing from the religious emotion of spirituality, and which really is the essence of the all that really is. Pure spirit is the positive pole of being. We shall see the part played by it in the astral colors as we proceed. Black. Black stands for the negative pole of being, the very negation of pure spirit, and opposing it in every way. We shall see the part played by it in the astral colors as we proceed. The various combinations of the 3 astral primary colors are formed in connection with black and white, as well as by the blending of the 3 themselves. These combinations, of course, result from the shades of mental and emotional activity manifested by the individuality, of which they are the reflection and the key. The combinations and blending of the astral colors, however, are numberless and present and almost infinite variety. Not only is the blending caused by the mixing of the colors themselves in connection with black and white, but in many cases, the body of one color is found to be streaked, stripped, dotted, or clouded by other colors. At times, there is perceived the mixture of two antagonistic color streams fighting against each other before blending. Again, we see the effect of one color neutralizing another. In some cases, great black clouds obscure the bright colors beneath and then darken this fierce glow of color, just as is often witnessed in the case of a physical conflagration. Again, we find great flashes of bright yellow or red flaring across the field of the aura, showing agitation or the conflict of intellect and passion. The average student who has not developed the astral vision is inclined to imagine that the astral colors in the human aura present the appearance of an egg-shaped rainbow or spectrum or something of that sort. But this is a great mistake. In the first place, the astral colors are seldom at rest, for all mental and emotional activity is the result of vibration, change, and rhythmic motion. Consequently, the colors of the aura present a kaleidoscope appearance of constant change of color, shape, and grouping, a great electrical display, so to speak, constantly shifting, changing, and blending. Great tongues of flame-like emanations project themselves beyond the border of the aura under strong feeling or excitement, and great vibratory whirls and swirls are manifested. The sight is most fascinating, although somewhat terrifying at first. Nature is wise in bestowing the gift of astral vision only gradually and by almost imperceptible stages of advance. There are many unpleasant as well as pleasant sights on the astral plane. End of chapter. Chapter 4. The Astral Colors Continued. Remembering always the significance of the three primary colors on the astral plane, let us consider the meaning of the combinations, shades, hues, and tints of these colors. The red group. In this group of astral colors seen in the human aura, we find strongly in evidence the clear, bright red shade, similar to that of fresh, pure arterial blood as it leaves the heart, filled with pure materially freshly oxygenated. This shade in the aura indicates health, life force, vigor, virility, etc., in pure and untainted form. The aura of a healthy, strong child shows this shade of color very plainly and strongly. Strong, pure, natural emotions such as friendship, love of companionship, love of physical exercise, healthy, clean sports, etc., are manifested by a clear, clean shade of red. When these feelings become tainted with selfishness, low motives, the shade grows darker and duller. Love of low companionship, unclean sports, or selfish games produce an unpleasant, muddy red shade. A shade of red very near to crimson is the astral color of love, but the tint and shade varies greatly according to the nature of this form of emotional feeling. A very high form of love, which seeks the good of the loved one rather than the satisfaction of oneself, manifests as a beautiful rose tint, one of the most pleasing of the astral tints, by the way. Descending in the scale, we find the crimson shade becoming darker and duller until we descend to the plane of impure, sensual, coarse passion, which is manifested by an ugly, dull, muddy crimson of a repulsive appearance, suggesting blood mixed with dirty earth or barnyard soil. A peculiar series of red shades are those manifesting anger in its various forms, from the vivid scarlet flashes of anger color arising from what may be called righteous indignation, down the scale to the ugly flashes of deep, dull red, beckoning rage and uncontrolled passion. The red of anger generally shows itself in flashes or great leaping flames, often accompanied by a black background. in the case of malicious hate, or by a dirty, greenish background when the rage arises from jealousy or envy. The color of avarice is a very ugly combination of dull, dark red and a dirty, ugly green. If persons could see their own astral colors accompanying these undesirable mental states, the sight would perhaps so disgust them with such states as to work a cure. At any rate, they are most disgusting and repulsive to the occultist who beholds them in the human aura, and he often wonders why they do not sicken the person manifesting them. They often do just this thing, to tell the truth. The yellow group. In this group of astral colors seen in the human aura, we find as many varieties as we do in the red group. Yellow, denoting intellect, has many degrees of shade and tint and many degrees of clearness. An interesting shade in this group is that of orange, which represents different forms of pride of intellect, intellectual ambition, love of mastery by will, etc. The greater degree of red in the astral orange color, the greater the connection with the physical or animal nature. Pride and love of power over others has much red in its astral color, while love of intellectual mastery has much less red in its composition. Pure intellectual attainment and the love of the same is manifested by a beautiful, clear golden yellow. Great teachers often have this so strongly in evidence that at times their students have glimpses of a golden halo around the head of the teacher. Teachers of great spirituality have this nimbus of golden yellow with a border of beautiful blue tint strongly in evidence. The paintings of the great spiritual teachers of the race usually have this radiance pictured as a halo, showing a recognition of the phenomenon of the part of the great artist. Hoffman's celebrated painting of the Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane shows this nimbus so accurately depicted that the occultist is convinced that this artist must have actually witnessed a similar scene in the astral light. So true to the astral facts are its details. The images of the Buddha also show this radiance. The rich golden shades of intellectual yellow are comparatively rare, a sickly lemon color being the only indication of intellectual power and found in the aura of the great run of persons. To the sight of the occultist, employing his power of astral vision, a crowd of persons will manifest here and there, at widely separated points, the bright yellow golden of the true intellect appearing like scattered lighted candles among a multitude of faintly burning matches. The green group. This is a peculiar group, consisting as of course it does of various combinations of blues and yellows, tinted and shaded by white or black. Even skilled occultists find it very difficult to account for the fact of certain green shades arising from the spiritual blue and the intellectual yellow. This is one of the most obscure points in the whole subject of the astral colors, and none but the most advanced occultists are able to explain the why in some instances. To those who are fond of analysis of this kind, I will drop the following hint, which may help them out in the matter, viz. The key is found in the fact that green lies in the center of the astral spectrum and is a balance between the two extremes, and is also influenced by these two extremes in a startling manner. A certain restful green denotes love of nature, out-of-door life, travel in the country, etc., and also, slightly differing in tint, the love of home scenes, etc. Again, a clear, beautiful, lighter tint of green indicates what may be called sympathy, altruistic emotion, charity, etc. Again, illustrating variety in this group of astral colors, another shade of green shows intellectual tolerance of the views of others. Growing duller, this indicates tact, diplomacy, ability to handle human nature, and descending another degree or so blends into insincerity, shiftiness, untruth, etc. There is an ugly slate-colored green, indicating low, tricky deceit. This is a very common shade in the colors of the average aura, I am sorry to say. Finally, a particularly ugly, muddy, murky green indicates jealousy and kindred feelings, envious, malice, etc. The blue group. This interesting group of astral colors represents the varying forms and degrees of religious emotion, spirituality, etc. The highest form of spiritual, religious feeling and thought is represented by a beautiful, rich, clear violet tint, while the lower and more gross phases of religious emotion and thought are represented by the darker and duller hues tints and shades until a deep, dark indigo is reached, so dark that it can scarcely be distinguished from a bluish black. This latter color, as might be expected, indicates a low superstitious form of religion, scarcely worthy of the latter name. Religion, we must remember, has its low places as well as its heights. Its garden grows the rarest flowers and at the same time the vilest weeds. High spiritual feelings, true spiritual unfoldment is indicated by a wonderfully clear light blue of an unusual tint, something akin to the clear light blue of the sky on a cool autumn afternoon, just before sunset. Even when we witness an approach to this color in nature, we are inspired by an uplifting feeling as if we were in the presence of higher things. So true is the intuition regarding these things. Morality of a high degree is indicated by a series of beautiful shades of blue, always of a clear, inspiring tint. Religious feeling ruled by fear is indicated by a shade of bluish gray. Purple denotes a love of form and ceremony, particularly those connected with religious offices or regal grandeur of a solemn kind. Purple naturally was chosen as the royal color in the olden days. The brown group. The brown group of astral colors represents desire for gain and accumulation, ranging from the clear brown of industrious accumulation to the murky dull browns of miserliness, greed, and avarice. There is a great range in this group of brown shades, as may be imagined. The gray group. The group of grays represents a negative group of thought and emotions. Gray represents fear, depression, lack of courage, negativity, etc. This is an undesirable and unpleasant group. Black. Black in the astral colors stands for hatred, malice, revenge, and devilishness generally. It shades the brighter colors into their lower aspects and robs them of their beauty. It stands for hate, also for gloom, depression, pessimism, etc. White. White is the astral color of pure spirit, as we have seen, and its presence raises the degree of the other colors and renders them clear. In fact, the perception of the highest degree of being known to the most advanced occultist is manifested to the highest adepts and masters in the form of the great white light, which transcends any light ever witnessed by the sight of man on either physical or astral plane. For it belongs to a plane higher than either and is absolute rather than a relative white. The presence of white among the astral colors of the human aura betokens a high degree of spiritual attainment and unfoldment, and when seen permeating the entire aura, it is one of the signs of the master, the token of adeptship. End of chapter. Come and join me at the next video where we get to learn about the collective aura and the aura of different buildings and places and also thought forms. So please do hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel, leave me your comments, let me know that you were here, okay? Catch you at the next video.